Welcome to a live stream of Let Freedom Ring. We're just going to talk about a few things today, but coming back to the show, second time, we got Dave Fournier. Dave, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Dan.
No, definitely want to catch up a little bit, see how things have been going for you since your appearance on Let Freedom Ring. But yeah, how have you been? I think we had you in studio back in, I believe, September or August.
Yeah, it was in the summertime, and then we did the Halloween show too after that. So it's
Mm.
technically my third time.
Third, yeah, it is true. Oh my goodness. First time I've been corrected on that.
I'm going to catch up to Leo pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we did do a Halloween episode a little while back, also with Anthony Brogna. We'd like to do a Friday the 13th episode as well. So we will kind of talk about that a little bit here. But yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think it's been hard. Everybody's schedules haven't meshed.
yeah, and this is like I know all three of us are not as passionate about Friday the 13th as we are to Halloween. So like getting motivated to do it has not been probably the easiest, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even
So
know if I've watched them all yet.
I have and I now own them all. So I can let you borrow whatever you need to watch. Just let me know.
If I swipe over to put my Wi-Fi on my phone, is it going to throw me out of this?
No, it shouldn't. Are you hard dialed in?
All right, we'll find out.
All right, here we go.
All right, there we go.
Oh, perfect. All right, we're good. No interruptions here. Um, yeah, but
Sorry.
no worries, Dave. How does it feel to be now? You're fully vaccinated, right? You've had both shots.
I am. It's been 3 weeks now since the second one. Don't really feel much different, to be honest. But I do feel safer. I will admit that. I don't know if it's just a mind thing, really, because there's really not. I still don't know if there's 100% science to show that the vaccine is working, but it does seem to be. Today I saw Massachusetts is down to only 812 cases, which is probably the lowest it's been since this all started.
Yeah, it's been a wild time. Honestly, I never thought we'd even get to this. I know we're about over a year into this, so no, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that you were able to get both. I get my first shot tomorrow. I've kind of put it off. I wanted to see how y'all did before I went ahead and got ejected. So
I get it. I get it. And
injected,
I'm
I should
glad I
say.
got the Moderna because it seems like there's some controversy a little bit around Pfizer, and I don't think I'd want to go near the Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna ask them tomorrow because I don't even know like what to even expect. I'm just gonna like show up. It's in Salem, and I guess go from there. We shall see. Um, but yeah, no. I'm glad things. I feel like we are turning a corner quite a bit.
It seems that way. It seems that way. Things are starting to happen a little more, and people are definitely out and about more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. So, hopefully we're getting somewhat back to normal. Obviously, the mask mandate is done here in New Hampshire. I don't agree with that. I don't think the masks were ever a big deal. There are a lot of crybabies we found during COVID. You
Yeah,
get inconvenienced slightly and they overreact.
yeah, and I mean now it's like the mask is almost like I don't even notice it anymore. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. No, I never had a big deal with it, but there's definitely there is a part of our population that make a big deal about everything. And that's just not a battle that I just never thought was worth fighting over. You know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and you took the best of it. You kind of were like matching them and buying a whole bunch of them and got a
Oh,
collection of them.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I got a Nerds of Wrestling. I got a Patriots. I got plenty of American flag ones. Obviously, sticking with the theme of my show. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
had no problem with it.
You know,
So,
I guess for me, the biggest thing about being vaccinated is I don't feel so scared when you get around somebody who doesn't want to wear a mask.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. No, it's just again, just don't think the masks were ever a big deal. I mean, that's just me. Um, but we're gonna get into a little bit of wrestling. You got to go to a wrestling show, two wrestling shows over the
I did.
weekend. But as we just were talking a little bit about, we're going to get Anthony and you on the show. We're going to do something very similar to what we did with the Halloween episode. We just got to kind of book it and when we're going to do it. You like me, we got passion for horror movies. I mean, I especially like the franchises.
Yes, without a
Uh,
doubt.
but what are your overall thoughts on the Friday the 13th series?
Oh, I mean, it's obviously a classic because I feel like, you know, everybody, even the younger generation, still knows what it is to this day. But I still think like if they had kept it at 3 or 4, I think they would have been okay. But just making so many of them, I think I don't know. It just wasn't something that. And I know, our other favorite, our favorite, in my opinion, our favorite franchise, Halloween had a lot
100%.
as well, but
Yep.
they did a better job at telling the stories. And I feel like a lot of the Friday the 13th, they kind of reached to keep it going.
Yeah, because they were busting them out like one per year, like
Yeah.
no matter what. And I gotta say, so one I had never really seen until recently was Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh,
Jason was in Manhattan for like a second, or like, all right, we'll say 30 minutes. He was in Manhattan for about 30 minutes. It's Jason on a boat, is what that movie was.
yes. That's probably my least favorite one, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, it was very just. I didn't hate, like, I don't hate it. I would rewatch some of it. Obviously, the boxing scene was kind of fun part of it, but overall, that was just like, what were they thinking? They weren't.
That's what I feel like. They just kind of were like, well, we need to come up with something, so let's just do this one, and probably easy theme because they're like, oh, Jason Takes Manhattan. We can film it in New York and we're all set.
Yeah, and I heard that they kind of the original idea went out the window because they just didn't have the budget for it, which is
Yeah.
crazy because these movies were making stupid money back then.
Yeah. But I think by that time, I feel like, yeah, they probably like, you know, with the ones prior to it, weren't probably able to convince people to spend money on them.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting. I mean, I enjoy them. You have to take them in for what they are, but they're just not on the level of Halloween.
No, not at all. Not at all.
What is your least favorite of the Friday the
Oh,
13th?
like I said, definitely Jason X. That was just,
Jason,
yeah,
yes.
pure garbage.
Yeah, yeah. You know what the funny thing about that is? You had Jason Goes to Hell. And spoiler alerts to anybody watching. Uh, Freddy comes out at the bottom there, and I believe that movie came out in 1993. Uh, so people are waiting for that Freddy versus Jason. They didn't get it. I mean, they eventually did, but what did they get first? Jason X before they got that movie.
Yeah.
And
Which was even more of a disappointment.
yeah, it was very bizarre. I don't hate it. I know Anthony was giving me crap in the group chat once. So he's like, "Oh my god, he liked that movie." I didn't like love it, but it's so cheesy in a way that like I didn't like despise it, I guess. I guess I'd watch it again, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I'd watch it again, but that's just me.
Yeah. There was a lot they could have done with that movie too, and they just there was a lot of laziness going on there. Um what is your favorite of the Friday the 13th movies?
Well, and to me, you can't beat the original. Like the original was the original. Like to me, you get no better than that. Like that was the one where you watch and you're like legitimately like afraid of the guy. To me, that was the best one in the series. I'd say that one and Part 4 were probably two of my favorites. Out of tough to choose one, but I'd have to go with the original. I think.
Yeah. No, I my favorite I think was the second because the first one wasn't really Jason, but it started to tell the story of it. He does show up at the end. I thought the second one was really cool, and then the third one, you finally get the mask. But I also think there's parts of the third Jason that were like pretty boring. But then you're right, you get back on track in the fourth one with Corey
Yeah,
Feldman. you know,
yeah, that's
so
right. I forgot.
yeah, yeah, we really do have to do this show because I'm super excited about it. Like I have now watched, I have seen every single one. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch some of them. But I think we could do a really fun ranking episode. So we'll have to get in contact with Anthony and make this happen.
Yeah, and
Um,
that'll get me to go back and rewatch them so I can be more familiar because it's been a long
yeah,
time.
yeah. Well, and like I said, I have them all. So if you do need to borrow any, just to catch up, let me know. I'm in the Andover area quite a bit now.
That's
So
trying to get you
uh,
in this area.
yeah. So last night, Impact Wrestling had Rebellion. They're still not having. I mean, Impact has yet to have any fans whatsoever. They're really just doing those empty. They're not even doing anything like WWE is with the Thunderdome or anything like that. Um, Not a huge like. I think I ordered this pay per view for one match. Um, I really wanted to see Rich Swann and Kenny Omega for AEW title versus the Impact title. Kenny Omega wins. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on that?
Um, I feel like with it being a Impact like pay per view, like I don't know, I feel like it hurts almost their credibility. Because you got their top guy losing to the top guy of another promotion. I mean, I get somebody, at least they went with somebody won and didn't end it with, like both guys getting disqualified or, some type of crap finish like that. But I feel like it still kind of makes it, I mean, not that I feel like people already feel like Impact is like the bottom of the list out of, WWE, AEW. But I feel like that just now makes it even seem more that way.
Saying
Oh, I don't know if I lost you, Dan.
Dave, can you hear?
I can hear you now.
I gotta get a new router or something. But yeah, do you think there's very a lot of people feel that way?
Say say that one more time because you broke up again. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do you feel like this impact Kevin Omega win the title?
I think to a point it hurt. I think it hurt them. Just I don't know if you had heard me saying like I feel like that's what kind of hurt. The promotion kind of gives them that. To me, it says, "Oh, their top guy lost to the top guy of AEW, so AEW is superior to them."
Yeah, but I think though the thing is, you're right that Impact has fallen so far that you putting the title on Kenny Omega, the probably debatably the best wrestler on the planet, popular wise, matches wise, gives your company a little more credibility. I think.
I mean, it does, but I feel like it's still, I don't know. I mean, when you do an interpromotional match, no matter what, which is why I feel like it never works. Like, I mean, if you go back prior to, back in the territory days, they would do that like NWA versus WWF champion, and it would almost always end in a draw. So, like I said, I give them credit for having an outright winner.
Yeah, yeah, and I wasn't sure they were going to go that route because until I saw the press conference where they basically were like Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore basically said like, no, there's going to be a finish to this match. So they went. And I honestly think this does help Impact because Kenny Omega is a bigger name than anybody they've had be champion in the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing is, I think last night was the first time in quite a while that I actually saw like social media discussion about Impact. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So, for the internet marks, I'm a wrestling mark. We're both probably wrestling marks.
Yes.
It's fun. It's fun to be a wrestling mark. Um, I just don't. I think we overuse the word bury. I think a lot of wrestling fans overuse that word.
Yeah, a little bit. I just think nowadays most wrestling fans like think they're there's just too much armchair booking going on.
Yeah, there is. It's a louder presence because you can be online all the time saying these ideas. But at some point, like I just look at things and I go, okay, guys, pump the brakes here. Let's not. Everything isn't a burial. Someone has to win. Someone has to lose. It doesn't mean it's buried. So,
No.
um, but I want to talk a little bit about. Now you're fully vaccinated. You had
Yeah.
quite the weekend. You got to go into the New England Pro Wrestling Academy for Chaotic Wrestling's first show with fans in over a year. What was
Yeah.
that experience like?
It was. I mean, I guess I didn't have a lot of doubts just knowing the people in charge now, as long as I have, and you know, that company has always done things the right way. And they did a really good job with this. They had temperature checks at the door. Um, everybody had to wear a mask. They only allowed a certain number of people. Um, it was good to be back at a show like this with people, people in it. And I'm glad to see they're gonna, do it again and even have some more people now.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to go to the next one. Obviously, I wanted again. I've been one that's been like, I'll let y'all be the guinea pigs. When it comes to the vaccine and things like that, I'm like, I'll wait. I want to see how it goes.
Well,
But
and it's because I actually went last summer. There was a couple of outdoor shows that I went to up down in Rhode Island, and I can say I was very apprehensive at those shows. Whereas with this, I mean, part of it was probably the vaccination, but it just felt very safe.
how was the crowd overall? I mean, how many people did they have?
If I had to estimate, I'd say around 40. They said it was going to be less than 50, and I'd say it was probably around 40.
Now, you go to we've been going to Chaotic for years. How was the energy? Like, what was the energy there? Did the people really like? Were they pumped to be there?
I felt like there was times it was, but there were times it just, and I think it's just because it was a smaller crowd, it didn't have that same energy feeling that it could have had.
Yeah, it gets tough. I mean, 40 people. I know that can be. It's hard to feed off each other when it is only 40. Um, how the wrestlers seem? Did they seem like they were happy to be in front of an audience? I mean, so now they've been wrestling. I think Chase Del Monte got this going. I don't know when did they start Reloaded? That must have been
I don't know,
a
maybe
couple months back.
2, 3 months at the most.
Oh, was it December? I think it's been going since December, I think.
Oh, has it been that long? Wow.
I think so. So I mean, did the wrestlers seem like they were like happy to
Oh, they
have
definitely
people back?
were. They were definitely thrilled to have fans back. I think we think about it from a fan perspective, and I know that's been my thing during the last year. Like even with the WWE doing the computerized fans in the background, it just doesn't have that same feeling to me. That when I watch WrestleMania, I was happy to see fans. I have other thoughts on what I
How they
saw in
were?
that audience,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just a different feeling when you actually have a crowd there than when you're just performing for a camera.
Yeah, no, no, it's got to be good. And I gotta say, the chaotic roster is very different than what it was 2 years ago. I mean, we've seen a lot of people move on. Um,
Even from a year ago when before they stopped running shows, it's I think on this show it was a definitely a different roster, and so there was some familiar faces, but definitely some new faces.
what do you think of? And I don't want to spoil anything, but I think this one was already broadcasted. What do you think of the stable that JT Dunn has going
I,
right now? What
I
are they
like.
called? I'm
I
trying to
think
think what they're
right.
called again.
Oh God, I should remember it, and I was there, and I can't even remember.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, and I will say, and they did even, at the beginning of the show come out and say, like, there's going to be some things you're not going to understand during the show because you got to watch the show on Twitch to see, probably the, stuff that they've done backstage and so forth. Um, but, I think JT Dunn right now is probably one of the hottest stars on the independent scene. And I really like where it's gone. And there are spoilers out on the internet. I saw one person put a spoiler and got lambasted by a couple people for it.
yeah, yeah. You're one of 40 people that got to see this live. Like
Yeah,
let
I mean,
them do the show.
I see both sides of it.
Yeah.
I personally didn't. I didn't even take. I'm usually one that takes pictures at every show, and I took a picture of the ring like before the show, but I just felt out of respect, so people could enjoy it when it does air that couldn't be there because it was limited. I didn't take pictures, but they didn't say not to either. So
Could always take pictures without like, because I think you could, because I know like they were doing the reload, not reloaded, elevated for a little bit. So it's like I always thought it was okay if you were taking pictures in like, but as long as you weren't like filming the match and then posting it online when they're trying to do an internet show. That's kind of like a jerk move. But to spoil
Yeah,
it, you could take pictures without spoiling it. So it's kind of crappy someone would do that. Like
yeah.
for a local wrestling organization.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I also look at it, and the person that did it did have a good point. Like, if you didn't want to know it, you didn't have to read his posts either. Like, you knew he
Sure.
went to the show. I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it, so I really don't want to take a stance one way or the other on it. But
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one.
you
Now,
I mean,
how was the APW show?
so APW was good. That was a little different because there was definitely more people in there, which gave it a little bit more of that like high energy feeling to me. Not that Chaotic didn't have. I mean, Chaotic put on a great show. I don't want anybody to take that that they didn't. But I just felt like it was a bigger crowd. It was in a regular venue, and it just felt more like things were back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. Now, how many did they must have had more than 40 people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I know they sold it out, and I can't remember the number. I want to say around 100-ish. In that range. I can't, maybe somebody else will know the exact numbers, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's cool and it looks like they're using some people that haven't really been used because wasn't Susanna, and I'm trying to remember what her last name is. She used to do I think she's dating Julian Starr.
yeah,
Um, they're using her on the shows,
yes,
which is
yes.
cool because she doing good?
She did a fantastic job.
Yeah, that's good because Leo speaks very highly of her. He's had her on his show. And I remember he had her probably in like 2018, and it seemed like
Wow.
she was coming up, that she was going to be used a lot by one of the companies, and then it just kind of never happened for her. So it's kind of cool to see that,
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
you know. But yeah, overall felt pretty good to be back there.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, and I can say I didn't feel like there was anything unsafe. I feel like there's still, I don't know, maybe I've changed my stance a little bit. And it's not just because of being vaccinated, but this whole thing like, okay, you can take your mask off to eat and drink, while you're sitting there. But when you're not eating, drinking, put it back on. And it's like, well, your germs are already in the air. So at that point, I don't know that, it makes a whole lot of sense. But I guess it is guidelines that they have to follow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, and we've said this a lot on the show, there's no one alive on this planet that was alive the last time there was a pandemic like this.
Yeah, no, nobody.
Um, so I guess we've just been kind of like, it's just, you're right.
Yeah,
Your my thoughts have changed a lot. It,
yeah, it just
as we learn more, it's just how it works.
I mean, like I even saw a thing, when this first started, we were so big on you had to sanitize your hands, everywhere you went. And now they're telling places take the sanitizing stations out because it's not a surface, thing. It's airborne.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I don't know. It just, I feel like they really like just are coming up with things because they're like, well, we got to have some type of response, especially here in Massachusetts. I mean, they've had some crazy things that they've done here.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, it's been pretty unreal. I mean, not something, none of us knew what to do. Or,
No, you know,
you know, I always said that I got freaked out after watching Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan had the infectious disease expert on. And the way, he probably was right. There's a lot of things he was saying. I went, oh, this is real.
yeah,
And it has been. And hopefully we're starting to get back to
yeah.
normal.
In no means am I saying it isn't real, but I just feel
Yeah.
like they took a lot of guessing
Yeah.
at things. I don't know, how saying like here in Massachusetts saying, oh, restaurants have to close at 10 o'clock, but from 6 a.m. in the morning until 9:59 p.m. it's fine, but at 10 o'clock they got to close. I mean now that's gone, but they've lifted that whole rule. But when that was going on, I just thought that was one of the most ridiculous things they came up with.
Well, I will say this, and personally, I was in Massachusetts at one point. Went out for my buddy Derek's birthday, and I will say this: the more drinks you have, the less you give a crap.
Oh,
Uh,
well, and I
you
won't
know,
disagree with that. That's
you know.
absolutely so. I get the and that's what a lot of people said. Well, why can't you sit at the bar? Why do you got to buy food? And I'm like, well, there's reasons behind that part of it. Even the like 90-minute rule that no restaurant. I hate to say it, no restaurant is enforcing right now. That they're
Yeah.
supposed to still be, but nobody's enforcing that right now.
No, no. I mean, we've been through quite a bit. So I mean, it is what it is. But we're seeing the end, sort of the end of it, or
I
light at
hope
the
so.
end of the tunnel.
I mean, New Hampshire. I mean, I know even Hampton Beach said they're going full fledged with all their activities this summer. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. Just get me. I mean, I did see today the Fisher Cats. This is the last Monday without the Fisher Cats here in New Hampshire. I
Nice.
plan to go to quite a few games. I'm not sure what the restrictions are or what
Yeah,
the policies are. I will say my brothers went to Fenway the other week, and I'm jealous they didn't go because when will you ever get to go to Fenway again and have a whole row to yourself?
I was going to say, like, how was the experience? Like, because I haven't really known anybody that's gone.
Oh yeah, Bobby was sending me like pictures of him. He's got the row by himself. I'm like, I can't even imagine. Like, could you imagine being at a Red Sox game? You got to take a piss and you have to like walk by like a whole row of
Bro,
people. You know?
no, yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Red Sox games just because of my working schedule and everything else. But I've seen a couple of Celtics and Bruins games, and just it seems surreal because it looks like nobody's there. You know?
Yeah. And now there is actually people there because I mean last year there was not. So
Yeah.
um yeah, no, it's good to see. I think we're getting there. I think we are
What
getting there.
Let me ask you this. What is your thought on? I know there's been a lot of controversy and there's been talks, and I think Europe has actually already done this where they require people to get tested the day of like a sporting event or concert before attending. There's even talk of requiring like your vaccination card. Do you think that those are okay requests of people? Because I don't see a problem with it, but a lot of people are not happy with it.
I think if you're an individual business, you should be able to do whatever you want. If you are selling tickets to something and you want to know someone's vaccinated or you want to know for sure they don't have COVID and they want proof of that, that's fine to me because it's your business.
Yeah,
Because simply, I mean, if you don't want to do those things, then you don't go.
yeah, and that's exactly what I feel like. Like, it's your choice. You're getting the opportunity to go, so just suck it up and do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what gets me a lot with a lot of these debates is that um, I'm not saying that people should be forced to get the vaccine because I'm not. But don't tell me that's going against your constitutional rights when that business has a right to itself to have
Yep.
policies they think to keep their customers safe. So it's like we just got to know the difference between what's a constitutional right and what's not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And but people are gonna. I mean, and I get the like. I don't know. I mean, then there's the talk of like the vaccine passports for people to travel, and I don't know. It gets into a whole complicated thing. But again, they don't have to get on an airplane. That's to me. That airline is saying, we're letting you. And I get they're paying for it, but at the end of the day, it's still their airline, still their planes.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. And at the end of the day, like I don't want people telling me how to like because obviously I'm gonna get the vaccination tomorrow. I do
Yeah.
believe we should be doing that. But at the end of the day, I don't like being told how to live my life. And I know that's been a lot of the debate with people. But when it is something you're choosing to do, you gotta kind of go by what they're asking you to do if you want to do it, or just don't do it.
Yep.
So no, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I wouldn't want to have to get a test to go to a baseball game, but if I wanted to really go and they were asking me to do it, then I would get it. Otherwise, I just wouldn't go.
Yeah, but it's just funny because they're trying to come up with these solutions. Like it's these same people who don't want to go to the game and wear a mask and follow all these social distancing guidelines, but they're the same people that don't want to have a test either that would allow them not to have all these social distancing guidelines.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I beat up on them quite a bit. I know I can be very critical of some conservatives, but they seem to not really understand what's a right and what's not, and they just like to throw their weight around. And that's not every conservative. I'm sorry, but it seems
No.
to be more on the right that they feel that way. They don't want to be
Yep.
told what to do, no matter what. you know.
Yep.
So, um, but yeah, no. So I wanted to get into a little bit of a blank versus blank, but a New England independent wrestling blank versus blank.
Okay.
Um,
Don't make me choose between Rich Palladino and Leo Connors this time, though, because
oh,
it's
that
going to
was
still going to be a tie.
yeah. I don't have Rich on here, but I'm glad to see Rich is doing good. It looks like he's lost a ton of weight. I saw his post
Yeah.
the other day, which is really exciting. There was another ring announcer that also did the same, which was really cool.
Yeah.
First one,
And do you remember R.J. Deloise uh,
I might.
from the announcer? I don't know if he might have been there before you were going, but he
Yeah,
used to be one of the announcers. And he was a big guy, and he was actually back announcing at the last taping. Um, and he's like, you wouldn't even know it was him. Totally, like, weight's all gone.
I love hearing stories like that. You really, just people bettering themselves or doing things to be healthier. You
Yeah.
always love to hear that, and because it's not easy, So, um, all right, now here's two guys that were signed during the pandemic. I got Christian Casanova, who I think we're all big fans of Christian Casanova. One of the nicest guys, I would say. Him and Anthony Green, I would say, and Anthony to himself, Royce Bishop too, would
Yeah.
always go above and beyond for the fans. I always felt like those guys did that. But Christian Casanova or Josh Briggs.
Wow. I would have to go with Christian Casanova. Not that anything against Josh Briggs, great talent, great size, but I just think Christian Casanova is at that next level.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like Christian's already gone on TV. I know it hasn't been like as a wrestler or anything like that, but he's already gone on TV. As security.
Yeah,
We have not seen Briggs at all.
I
Nothing.
just what I always wonder is having seen Josh's Briggs style on the independent scene. I don't know that it's quite gonna work for WWE. Like I feel like he has to totally reinvent his style.
Yeah, I mean the guy could. I mean, when Donovan Dijak had his last match, he said the next guy that's going to be like me was Briggs, and Briggs did do that.
Yeah,
Um, I guess that's one other thing I want to ask before we move on and blank versus blank. Dijak's finally got the mask off.
finally.
I don't know. I'm not obviously we're not watching Raw right now. I'll probably maybe watch the main event or something. Do you think this is going to turn the corner for him? I mean, what is he going by? Is he Slapjack or is the other one Slapjack or Mace? No, he's Slapjack.
He slapjack, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this hopefully will be the final, the turning point. I didn't really care for the whole mask thing, so I'm glad the mask is off.
Dude, talk about like the whole retribution thing. Could have been a super good idea, but I feel like they thought of it the like I don't know, maybe a couple days before they were going to debut it, and they had no idea what they really wanted to do it. It feels like Raw during the pandemic has been like, let's throw shit against the wall and see what sticks.
I feel like, yeah, since the pandemic, WWE has kind of been what WCW used to do. They would decide what they were going to do on a show 2 hours before the show went on the air.
Yeah, it's been very just yeah, because he got a lot of talent, and Donovan Dijak, honestly, he we're all pulling from him, of course, but the retribution thing was never going to get over, and maybe they could have been retribution without the masks. I don't know.
And I think it would have been okay, but they just, I don't know. I feel like they just went from week to week and had no like set, like this is where it's going to end. They kind of just we'll just go with it, and we'll decide next week what's going to be next.
Yeah, and then it was like, yeah, Mustafa Ali, leader, and then he's gonna be. There was another thing they had him thrown into, and it's like, I love Mustafa Ali, honestly, but it's like it didn't fit. I don't
No,
know. It just, again, let's throw it against the wall. If it sticks and they like it, we'll
we'll be
run with
good.
it. You know. But anyways, neither here nor there. Okay, two tag teams. One, I really like them that they're new, and I don't remember both their names, and I apologize for that. But Higher Society. Um, I don't know. Okay, Chaos, Amari Chaos,
Oh God, I'm as
and
bad as you with these names. Like I should know them, but I forget. Yeah.
I really like, and I know they won the women's title as a
Yeah.
team. I know that.
Remember that.
I'm not sure how that works there, but I think they've been very like interesting pair on Chaotic Wrestling TV. I've actually really enjoyed watching them. Um, or the Sea Stars, which is Ashley Vox and I believe her sister, and I'm blanking on her name. They haven't been on Chaotic in a while, but they do wrestle on Limitless. Who you got there?
I'd go with Higher Society just because I'm more familiar with them. That's probably the
Yeah,
only I saying that, to be honest.
yeah. I really like them. I really do. I think it's something different, you know.
It's definitely like interesting, and I've always been a big like develop, even like on the indie scene, like develop the characters and not just have a show and have them go out and wrestle. You need to, especially if you're going to run regular, you need to have characters to get people to keep coming back.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think they're doing I think they're doing a great job, and I think they're only both of them are like 20, 21 years old, so I think there's a bright future for both of them. Um, here's one. We got Anthony Green again, signed by WWE.
Yep.
Had a pretty, I guess one thing I'm disappointed is that Anthony Green never got a lengthy like chaotic wrestling title run because he beat Christian in the wedding thing, but I think he dropped it to him the very next time. So we never got to see Anthony Green really be chaotic champion for a long time. And at this point, it probably never happened. So,
Yep.
but him or someone that's been one of the longest reigning chaotic wrestling champions ever, now the owner of chaotic wrestling, Chase Del Monte.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with this one,
That's
Dan.
a tough one.
It's a tough one. I'd probably. Ooh. So when you say blank versus blank, is this like who I think's a better star or what?
Essentially, usually blank versus blank is like one goes away, one stays. You
Oh,
got you got
yeah.
to pick one.
Wow. 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 Having seen Chase back when he first debuted and got Anthony Green, I remember when he used to come and sit in the audience at wrestling, you know, uh, from sitting in the audience to refereeing to, where he is now. Tough choice, but if I had to get rid of one, I think I'd have to keep Chase.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Like Chase is someone that I'm surprised they've never, Impact hasn't wanted, or even WWE at certain points, like, or maybe like wrestling is changing from when he was like younger. Like he's not old,
No,
but like it's just you're seeing more people signed by WWE that wouldn't have been signed 10, 15 years ago. At least I don't believe.
oh, I think that's one part of it. I think the one thing with Chase, although he did kind of branch out and do some of those ECWA shows in Delaware and stuff, he wasn't like Anthony Green. Chase kind of stuck to chaotic pretty much.
Yeah.
Didn't know a lot of other promotions, whereas Anthony Green was all over the place. Uh, New England, outside of New England, he was getting his name out there.
Yeah, and I think sometimes what people don't understand is not, and maybe he was, but I don't think everybody in the independent wrestling business, I don't know if always their goal is TV. Maybe it
Yeah,
is,
and that,
but you can have a good career as a job and still be a wrestler on the weekends.
yep, yeah, I
So,
agree. But yeah,
eh,
if one had to go away, sorry, Anthony, but it would have to be you.
yeah. Yeah, Chase has been one of the most, and he's been one of the more entertaining fan interacting heels that they've ever had. I mean, he's
Yeah,
made me laugh out loud so many different times.
so
Yeah.
many, so many. Even at the at that taping at the Pro Wrestling Academy, he came out, dressed the fans a couple of times, and just throwing little one liners that just had you laughing.
Yeah, he does a solid job. And you know what? I'm glad that he's still there. I'm glad that the company, the academy and Chaotic, that he was able to, keep it going. Because I mean, the
Yeah,
pandemic hurt a lot of people. It really did.
yeah. Pandemic hurt it. Other things that went on kind of almost I think could have really had an effect on it. Thankfully, things were in place to keep it going where it is now.
Yeah. Now we got the Battle of the Bryans here. Two former Chaotic Wrestling heavyweight champions. Two, in my opinion, first ballot Chaotic Wrestling Hall of Famers. One is a New England Pro Wrestling Academy Hall of Famer. We got Brian Fury or Brian Malonis.
Oh, hands down, Brian Malonis, who I still to this day will call Brian Buffet. That was his early
Yeah.
wrestling name. He'll probably kill me because I don't think he really cared for it, but
Yeah.
no, Brian he's got the size, um, just a real nice guy overall. And just I think I think he's one of the most underrated big guys in wrestling today. I don't think he gets enough credit. It's good to see him in Ring of Honor, and hopefully someday that'll even get him to branch out and maybe get his chance.
No, I said that, how great Anthony Green and Christian Casanova were with fans. Brian Malonis is also on that list of. He's very appreciative of the fans and
Yes.
very personable. He's been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian's great. I like them both. I hope that it does come to a point at some point we see Brian Fury again. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I do hope that we do.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother show that
Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but I'm just saying
I feel like yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like pandemic happens, things get accusations happen on Twitter, which I'm not a big fan of, like accusations on social media. I'm just not. I don't think that's like always the best way to do it. Um, I just hope that we see him again. I always liked Brian Fury. I liked Brian Fury when he was the owner of the company. I thought he was doing a good job. So is Chase. Not saying he's not, but I just hope we get to see Brian Fury again.
Yeah. You might someday, who knows? You can never say never.
For sure, for sure. All right, tough one here. Two of my favorite local tag teams ever. We got the Mainstay Posse, no longer going by Mainstay Posse.
No.
They're now going by MSP, just MSP, or the Logans.
Well, again, and this is just going to be for the amount of time I've known them. I'd have to go with the Logans. They've been around forever. They were there. You know, they were there. I mean, not at the start of Chaotic, but they were in other places at that time, and then started going to the Chaotic school. And I think honestly, they are probably when I think of Chaotic wrestling and tag team wrestling, you think of the Logan brothers.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm a big fan of the Logans. That's a hard one for me. I mean MSP, I remember when they first came, I was like, oh, they're from Maine. I can't cheer for them. But they won me over. They really did.
Oh,
Them and Bear Country.
yeah, and I definitely think like MSP now is definitely like you said they've connected with the crowd. They, in the beginning I think it was that exact reaction. Oh, they're from Maine, but now they've just got that connection with the crowd. I just think the longevity of the Logans is why I would go with them, and just having known them kind of on a personal side, for so long.
And I have to say I do like that the Mainstay Posse MSP are just going by MSP now. I don't know if they need another change, and that's totally up to them. But I think it is tough when you're when you use a state name on a larger scale. I think it makes it harder. I mean, I could be wrong. And then the posse thing, you think of like Insane Clown Posse. So
Yeah,
I think shorten it just to letters is a good idea, a really good idea.
yeah. I think there's some, gimmick changing going on with them too, and I don't know. We'll see where it all goes.
And especially when you're only two, like, because I know that they had the other guy there. and he even in Limitless he broke away from them. So they're not really a posse. They're two guys.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess Insane Clown Posse was only two, but I don't know if they count their fans. I hate the Insane Clown Posse, so that's for another show. I'm
I
not a big fan.
say this regarding St. Clown Posse. Back in like this would have been during the Attitude Era. They actually had a show in Worcester, their wrestling show, Juggalo, whatever. And yeah, I had no respect for them when I went to the show, and after I left, it was even worse.
Yeah, some of the things they're into, I just don't like. I mean, but I am gonna have Vern Bicalo on the show, and he's a big fan, huge fan. So we'll probably get him to talk a little bit about how he became such a fan. Because I mean, some of their stuff, it just doesn't appeal to me. But I'd like to know how it does appeal to certain people.
Oh, they were
For sure.
definitely a group that had that like following, and if they liked them, they loved them. I feel like that's how it was with them. Like either loved them or you hated them.
Yeah, but I will say I did enjoy the Oddities theme music. I thought that was actually a great song.
The theme
I did
song
think it was,
was
you
good.
know, um, and then yeah, the Insane Clown Posse, I believe, ended up in WCW after that. So
Yeah, they were, yeah. I mean, they did get on the main stage in both promotions during that whole Attitude Era, I guess you'd call it.
yeah, yeah, no, those are good times. Last one, tough one. You went to both their shows, but I want to put two companies against each other.
All right,
You got Chaotic Wrestling, or you have APW. I believe it's Atlantic Pro Wrestling.
it is.
If you could only go to one of these promotions for the rest of your life, one you cannot go to anymore, which one are you picking?
All right. Well, I'm gonna just preface this with my apologies to Joe Moakley and all the people at Atlantic Pro Wrestling. Uh, but yeah, it would be Chaotic. I've been going to Chaotic since their first year in existence back, in 2000, 2001, and have kind of continued to go at a, break over the years off and on here and there. But yeah, if one had to go away, no offense to the hard work at Atlantic Pro Wrestling. I love their shows. They put on great shows, great energy, and I'll continue to go, obviously. But yeah, if one had to go away, unfortunately, it would have to be them. Because, yeah, to me, Chaotic is still that premier independent group in New England.
But you know what's going to happen at some point? There are going to be people, I believe, because I think I think the owners of APW are very passionate about it.
Oh, they are.
There's going to be
like, there's no, like, I don't want them to think, like, this is any hate on them at all, because they put on a fantastic show. I mean,
yeah.
from top to bottom, that whole night was, and, I plan on going back again. It's just you putting the tough questions at me, Dan.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is in like 20 to 15 years, there could be two people talking just like we are that were kids going to APW and they said, "Yeah, that is my favorite promotion." And we don't know, that could turn into the premier. I mean, things could change. I do think you're right. I think Chaotic has always been the premier promotion for sure in Massachusetts. In New England too. Obviously, Limitless is they kind of got up there really quick. I gotta say, like to only be a company since 2015 and be on the level for independent wrestling that Limitless is, that's pretty impressive. And I have to say, Randy Carver Jr. for a young guy, damn, is that impressive what he was able to do.
Yeah, no, it is, and unfortunately, I have not had a chance yet to see one of their shows, but that's something that's on my plans as shows start to get going again.
And honestly, Limitless is the only reason I have the IWTV network. Limitless is the only reason I have it. I think it's like $10 a month, but I like to watch them still. So
somebody else was recently. I think it was Leo that was just preaching that to me recently about getting that. So
I will say it's pretty cool. There's a lot on there. There's actually Chaotic on there, like older stuff.
okay.
I don't know if they should. I would love to see them get an agreement because I'll say this: I would love to go back and watch more of the Cold Furies that especially the ones I went to.
Yeah,
because the Cold Fury, and I had said this on Leo's show many times, is like the WrestleMania of New England independent wrestling.
without a doubt, without a doubt.
And
it's funny because at the taping, a lot of people were, wondering when is Cold Fury happening, and I'm like, give the guys a break. They're still in the, trying to just get things going again.
Yeah, I hopefully, I mean, it'd be cool if they could do something. I don't know what their plans are. Obviously, if they stream that or whatever, I would watch that. But yeah, we all want Cold Fury back. That was
I,
you just got the big fight feeling from those shows.
I think the biggest thing is I think they kind of want to. I mean, this is just me speculating, obviously, but I think they kind of want to wait till they can have probably larger crowds because
Yeah.
that's always a big attended event. And, how do you decide and have to turn people away, from the biggest event of the year?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that, Kevin Bowe, Chase Del Monte's got to think about before he can make final decisions on that. I applaud him though for everything that he's done, and I will always continue to support chaotic wrestling for sure.
No, I agree. Let me ask you this. 'Cause only I think we have some time. Um,
Yeah.
what is your thought on the whole? A lot of people were a little turned off by Chaotic's price tag for this for a show of $45. What is your? I had no problem with it, but I'm only one person going. I think the people that are worried about it are people that go with like a family of 4 or 5. Feels like it might be out of their price range. And I feel like, unfortunately, with everything that's gone on, and especially while they still can only have limited people, that's going to kind of be what promotions are going to have to do in order to kind of make some sort of profit.
Yeah, I don't even think with the amount that they charge that they're going to make a profit.
Yeah.
I think that, and I could be wrong, and I have no idea because there's so much that goes into these. You probably had wrestlers doing shows for a company. I know they want to get their name out, but you probably had wrestlers not getting paid at all for a long time. Now, a lot of these wrestlers probably, they don't care. They want to make a name for themselves. The only way to get a name for yourself is get yourself out there. But at the same time, you should be compensated
And
something to put on a show for fans.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I didn't have a big problem with it. I figured it was going to be a little more pricier than usual.
And think about it, a lot of the money these wrestlers make on these shows are from selling T-shirts and doing meet and greets at admission and so forth. And there was none of that. I mean, this was literally a straightforward show. Started at 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and was done at 10 o'clock. Like no no intermission, no meet and greet. It was fans kept separate from the wrestlers for the most part.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Then what was the price tag? $60, something like that.
Well, it was $45 for a ticket, so
Oh, that's. I mean, what did we pay before? $20.
it was usually about 20. Yeah, I think 20 was like the highest price, or in that range.
I'd be honest. I saw that price. It didn't shock me. I thought it made sense when you are doing less numbers of people. You are also talking about promotions that haven't made anything in a long time, and I think it comes down to promoters are like, I want to pay the wrestlers. I
Yeah,
want to pay them something.
but
You know.
I can also see the point. Like I was saying, like if like for me, I look at it. I can afford. I'm one person, but when you
Yeah.
get somebody that it's a father and he's got 3, 4 kids, now you're talking $180, $200 for just to go to a show.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, I think the days of the bringing a full family might be harder to do. But when you're limited tickets, you're doing a limited show. I get the price tag.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I noticed APW kept their pricing kind of on their normal level, so it's just kind of interesting to see, because they still obviously had less fans, and they were kind of in that same situation where there was no, meet and greet.
Yeah, but the other thing is though, APW now, and again, I'm speculating totally on this. APW hasn't been filming a television show that they're putting on Twitch every week, right?
No, no,
So I mean, in some cases, the way I just kind of look at it in Chaotic's perspective is, if you've been filming these shows, probably not being able to pay them, but now you have a show where I could see upping the price tag because, and they're still probably not giving them a ton of money to do this. But I could see like if I was Chase Almani being like, these kids have worked their asses off. I'd like to be able to send them home with something,
no, yeah, no. I
you
mean,
know.
like I said, the promotion side of it. I also get the the fan side of it too.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, and again, if like we talked about the vaccine, right? If you don't want to do what you don't want to pay the price for admission, don't go. You can still
No,
watch it, you know.
but do you think that also hurts getting people to go because they're saying, well, I can pay $45 to go see them tape this TV show, or I can just sit home and watch it for free.
Yeah, I think you're only going to get to be quite frank, I think you're only going to get the diehards right now.
Yeah.
Because obviously, sometimes we would go to chaotic wrestling and there'd be fans that you never saw before, or just people that lived in Woburn that are like, hey, this could be something fun to do, right? You're probably not going to
Yeah.
see them. You're going to see the
No.
regulars. The regulars are going to pay that price.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jared was there. I'm pretty sure he probably took his son. I don't know if he just took his son, but
Yeah.
or because he used to come with a whole bus full of kids,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think it's with the number of people allowed, it probably wasn't, feasible. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe as things go back a little bit more to normal and they can start having bigger crowds and they're running regular buildings, maybe that price will go down a little bit.
I think over time, yeah, I think over time it definitely will. I think just right now we're still in a period of reopening it. And like I said, I thought, in my personal opinion, and I'm probably wrong on this, I just saw that price tag and thought these kids, and I say kids, not all of them are kids. Some of them are not. They're
Yeah.
veteran wrestlers, but for the most part, I'm sure the
Like I said,
veteran wrestlers are like, yeah, I don't care. I just want to do this to help you guys out.
yeah.
But those younger kids that are busting their butts, I'm sure it's nice to give them a little something at the end of that show,
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
you know? So, but no, Dave, this has been great. I don't know if you were aware, I am the Pick'em League champion as well. I won this year. My brother Mike is still not relinquishing the new title. This is the old title. I essentially am Moose right now with the old TNA title. He thinks I cheated. I did not, but I will carry around this title. I sleep with it every night.
Oh,
But I am the Pick'em League champion, and
I
I'm
did
very proud.
for the champion. I did see, I think, some posts on social media about that.
Years I've wanted to win that. Years
Well,
and years.
Congratulations on your championship win.
But no, Dave, I super appreciate this. You coming on. We should be back in the studio on Thursday with Ann Deshard. We had some issues with security last week where I'm talking to the union president, so we should have some security back. It's just with the whole thing with Soapy, it's hard to host a show when you're worried about possibly being attacked.
Yeah,
So,
agree.
but we will be back. But until then, everybody, keep your heads up and let freedom ring.